The House Standing Committee on Economic Development and Workforce Investment. I want to welcome everyone. Good morning. Just want to remind everybody, please silence your cell phones. If you're interested in testifying, please make sure that you have signed in. As a reminder, no signs in the committee room or outbursts from the audience. Any member have a guest or anybody they would like to recognize? Okay, seeing none, so I should call the roll.
Representative Bowling. Representative Callaway. Representative Duval.
Here.
Representative Elliott. Representative Gentry. Representative Griffey. Representative Grossel. Representative Jackson.
Present.
Representative King.
Present.
Representative Kulkarni. Representative Lawrence.
If you can believe it.
Representative Lehman. Representative Lockett.
Present.
Representative Payne. Representative Sharp. Representative Tackett Lafferty. Representative Truitt. Vice Chair Huff.
Here.
Chair Branscombe.
Here. We do have a quorum. First on the agenda is Senate Bill 3, an act relating to student athletes and declaring an emergency. Leader Wise, welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee.
If you could state your name for the record.
Yes, Max Wise, State Senator, 16th Senate District.
And do you have any guests signed up?
I do not, Mr.
Okay.
Chairman.
Well,
I'm flying solo this morning.
The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members. It's fitting to have this bill today. It's fitting. It's March. It's college basketball season. Last actually week of the regular season as we turn the page towards conference tournaments and soon to be the round of 64, which I hope doesn't increase to the round of 98 or whatever may be the future of college athletics. We're all in our sneakers, or most of us are today. I do apologize. Somebody saw me this morning and thought I was wearing Tennessee orange. When I ordered these, I thought they were yellow, and they're called Orange Gum Yellow. I had no idea what Orange Gum Yellow was with all the flavors of the Crayola crayons. But it's only fitting to have a bill like this today. It's dealing with name, image, and likeness, more commonly referred to as NIL. Mr. Chairman, you carried similar legislation on the floor of the House 2 years ago when we passed through our chambers at that time, Senate Bill 6. But I will tell you, it's concerning to me also as a bill sponsor of where we are in college athletics. And Representative Jackson, I'm looking to you as someone who was on the sidelines for many years at Edmonson County High School with the Lady Wildcats. It's worrisome to me of where we currently are, but not knowing what the future also may be as it centers around college athletics. But when we identify our state, we think of the things that Kentucky is known for. Athletics and college athletics seems to be near the top of conversations. We do not have any professional sports teams, even though we're surrounded by many Major League Baseball teams and National Football League teams. But college sports identifies Kentucky. If you're a Topper, if you're a Wildcat, if you're a Cardinal, an Eagle, whatever the mascot may be. And with that, we have the opportunity to discuss this morning Senate Bill 3, which is a piece of legislation that will aim to modernize name, image, and likeness here in the Commonwealth of Kentucky to ensure that our universities remain competitive and our student athletes have every opportunity to succeed. In 2002, we passed Senate Bill 6, which established that initial framework for what NIL would be for our student athletes in Kentucky. And it positioned us as a leader in NIL reform, which allowed our universities to attract top talent on the gridiron, on the ball court, on the baseball field, to protect our student athletes' rights. However, that landscape is constantly changing and evolving. So the legislation we have before you today is necessary to pass this legislative session because of a settlement by a Supreme Court case that currently is still being decided upon that could reach a settlement decision by April 7th or April 8th, which is after we've adjourned out of here and we would not be able to establish the frameworks in place for NIL.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? And a second. Representative Callaway.
Yes, I just had a quick question. I just was wondering if you said what you said about the color on your shoes because of what happened last night.
That was a nice win, I will say, by the Ole Miss Rebels for the Kentucky Wildcats to make sure that we have a nice bye in the SEC tournament. I will say that.
Any further discussion? All right, seeing none, so I should call the roll.
Representative Bowling.
Yes.
Representative Callaway.
Yes.
Representative Duval.
Yes.
Representative Elliott. Representative Gentry,
Yes.
Representative Griffey,
Yes.
Representative Grossel, Representative Huff,
Explain my vote, please.
Yes, sir.
I was going to be a no on this bill until I saw your tie, so I'm going to go ahead and be a yes today.
Thank you, Representative Huff.
Representative Jackson,
Vote, please.
Yes, sir.
I'm a yes on this, but I've probably been a sports fan. I look around the room longer than anybody in here, and that's not always a good thing, but I have been. And for the last 40 years, probably college basketball and college football were my favorite sports. But 3 years ago, when NIL started, I started to see those things slip away from the way that we had grown up with college athletics. And I know Senator Wise can't do anything about that here today. We just try to make it the best that we can. But I think we're headed down a slippery slope. And what I worry about, this is handed down from pros to college, and then what's going to be next? High school? Are we going to start with NIL, open transfer portal, all of those types of things with high school athletics? And I can see it coming, and it's not a good thing. So I hope we'll all keep that in mind. It's not good for college, and it sure as heck won't be good for high school if that happens. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Representative King,
Yes, ma'am.
Representative Kulkarni, Representative Lawrence,
Yes.
Representative Lehman,
Yes, and can I record my presence?
Representative Lockett,
Yes.
Representative Payne,
Yes.
Representative Sharp,
Aye.
Representative Tackett Lafferty,
Yes.
Representative Truitt, Chair Branscombe.
Senate Bill 3 passes with favorable expression. That same should pass.
Mr. Chairman, real briefly, this bill only does deal with college athletics. I don't want anyone leaving here thinking that it has anything to do with the KHSAA. I also encourage the NCAA and the U.S. Congress to help take care of this issue so we do not have to continue dealing with this every other session. Thank you, members.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, Senate Bill 15, an act relating to minimum wage exceptions. Senator Bledsoe. Good morning.
You. Good morning.
You
This
could
is
just state your name for the record.
sure Amanda Mays Bledsoe, State Senator for District 12.
Do you have any visitors?
I do online
Okay,
or on Zoom.
on Zoom. All right, we'll let Sasha pull them up. Yeah, in the meantime, while we're doing that, members, there is a committee sub. We have a motion. Do we have a second? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Committee sub is adopted. All right, I believe we do have the Zoom pulled up. If you could introduce yourself on the Zoom call. I think you're on mute. Okay. It's on our end. Hold on one second. We'll go ahead and move forward while they're working on
Okay.
to get sound. So if you want to go ahead and start us off.
Sure. Thank you,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. It's Sports Day apparently in your committee, so I'll follow up with the great spate of baseball. Lexington used to have minor league baseball officially, but Louisville and certainly Warren County do. So baseball is an important part of our economy. Growing up, my grandmother used to listen to baseball games. We went to the Reds games, but she liked to listen to them. And after she died, I kept thinking, why did you like to listen to the baseball game so much? Well, we found rings of 3-ring binders where she used to keep stats as a little girl because she enjoyed baseball so much. It's a generational sport in our state, and we've actually had really successful baseball players go on to play Major League, including Doug Flynn, Austin Kearns, Andy Green, a couple of my friends, and Walker Buehler most recently. But we have some interesting conversations with the MLB and the minor leagues, and they've worked together to sign a collective bargaining agreement, which now is in conflict with our wage and hour laws. And so this bill simply since Josh is not on there, I'll talk about it if that's okay, if you want me to go ahead. This bill simply removes the players, the 69 players, from that agreement so they don't have the paperwork that they would have had under the collective bargaining agreement. This is something that they've worked on together. So this is a minor league and a major league deal. That's a positive thing for players. They certainly have better benefits than they had when my friends were growing up in the minor league. So that's really what the bill does. And the amendment only has an emergency clause so that it can move forward more quickly. And if I've missed anything, Josh, if you're here, please fill in.
Can you hear me now?
We can.
Yes.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Can you introduce your name just for the record?
Sure, I'm Josh Alkin, Senior Vice President of Government Relations for Major League Baseball.
Okay. Go ahead.
Thank you, Senator Bledsoe, Chairman Branscombe, members of the committee. It's my pleasure to come before you today. As you know, Kentucky's home to two minor league baseball teams, the AAA Louisville Bats, the single A Bowling Green Hot Rods, which constitutes a total of about 70 players. To be clear, we're not here because our collective bargaining agreement with minor league players fails to meet state standards, but because both MLB and the Players Association believe that our negotiated compensation structure is the one that is most beneficial to the players. Unlike a typical hourly worker, during CBA negotiations, players sought and received part of their compensation in the forms of housing, meals, even signing bonuses. And players also compete vigorously, both at the ballpark and away from it, to reach their dream of being called up to the majors. So it doesn't benefit them to have their playing or practice time limited or access to club facilities restricted due to having hourly worker status. Moreover, the parties' CBA here ensures that players achieve the standard of living intended by Kentucky law, as the guaranteed minimum in-season salary alone would cover them for 126 to 168 hours per week, depending on the player's level. So, there's only 168 hours in a week, so clearly that's a non-issue, but statutory change is still necessary in order to address overtime and recognize that the experience of a player is unique compared to hourly workers who can only work at employer-specified times. In other words, the bill recognizes that players should be treated as salaried workers who may perform certain job-related activities for their own benefit and development, even if those activities are not required by the employer. For example, treating players as hourly workers creates the additional conundrum of determining what hours should even be counted, because players do things on their own time and at home during the off season and during the season for physical fitness, studying their craft, or otherwise seeking a competitive edge. That's one reason why players are actually paid and receive health coverage year round, even though their required baseball playing activities are only seasonal.
Motion on the bill is amended by the sub.
We do have a motion. Do we have a second? And a second. You may continue on, or it's up to your.
I'll wrap up. Just say that passage of the bill would put Kentucky on equal footing with all states that follow federal labor law and other states that have recently passed similar legislation, such as North Carolina, Florida, California, New York, and Washington. We appreciate the opportunity to appear before you today and urge favorable report on Senate Bill 15.
All right, we appreciate it. Thank you
Thanks.
very much for joining us. Representative Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to thank Senator Mays Bledsoe. I didn't even know this was a problem, and for the folks in Bowling Green and Warren County with the hot rods, we appreciate this bill, and thank you very much.
Representative Lehman.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Senator. Was curious, what is the minimum salary or minimum wage under this collective bargaining agreement, which I assume would be the single A level?
Josh, you want to?
Sure. So at single A level, the minimum salary is $920 a week. At AAA, it's $1,225 a week.
Just for
That's
context.
Per week or?
Per week.
Per week.
Okay.
For context, one of my best friends played minor league and major ball all the way through, and now coaches. He made $850 a month in single A. This is an improvement.
Thank you.
And I would just note that doesn't include the housing that is provided as required under the CBA, the meals, and the health benefits, et cetera.
Yeah, thank you, Senator.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, Sasha, call the roll.
Representative Bowling.
Yes.
Representative Callaway.
Yes.
Representative Duval.
Yes.
Representative Elliott.
Aye.
Representative Gentry.
Yeah.
Representative Griffey.
Yes.
Representative Grossel. Representative Huff.
Yes.
Representative Jackson,
Yes.
Representative King,
Yes, ma'am.
Representative Kulkarni,
Yes.
Representative Lawrence,
Yes.
Representative Lehman,
Yes.
Representative Lockett,
I'm going to vote yes and also say that I look forward to Lexington having another minor league baseball team as well.
Representative Payne,
Yes.
Representative Sharp,
Aye.
Representative Tackett Lafferty,
Yes.
Representative Truitt, Chair Branscombe.
Aye. Senate Bill 15, as amended by the committee sub, passes with favorable expression. We do have a title amendment. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed? Title amendment passes. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you very much.
Next on the agenda, Senate Bill 103. Senator Danny Carroll. Morning, Senator.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman.
If you could just introduce your name or introduce yourself for the record, and if your guests would do the same, we'd appreciate it.
I'm Danny Carroll, the state senator from the 2nd District.
Hello, I'm Annette Jedd. I'm the CEO of Kentucky Association of Community Rehabilitation Providers, and I am a parent advocate for my daughter who was born with intellectual and developmental disabilities. She's 19.
Good morning. My name is Melissa Marvel. I'm the president and CEO of a provider agency in Louisville, Kentucky. I am also a mother of a son who is 24 and who's with us today who has a visual impairment. And I'm also representing employers as well. So thank you for having us.
Members, we do have a committee sub. We have a motion and a second. In the sub, just to explain, there's a reporting requirement at the end of the bill. And all we did was add that the reporting would also go to our interim committee, so we could also take a look at the information. Senator Carroll was very kind in letting us put that sub on there. So we have a motion second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Senate committee sub passes, or House committee sub passes. Senator, floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I apologize for not catching that in the beginning. That reporting requirement should have included this joint committee during the interim. In addition to the provision you just spoke of, Mr. Chairman, there's a couple other things I want to cover on the bill. And this bill deals with the Office of Vocational Rehabilitation. I'm going to assume that all of you all know what OVR does. It's a program, it's an office within the state that kind of flies under the radar most of the time and really hasn't received a lot of attention. But what's important and why we brought this bill, one of several reasons we brought this bill, the state of Kentucky ranks 48th in employment for those with disabilities compared to those that do not have disabilities. That's unacceptable for our state. This is a workforce issue. This is a quality of life issue for those with disabilities. The main points of the bill: first, it requires the OVR to promulgate regulations under Chapter 13A, which will provide transparency to OVR by putting them under the legislature's purview, which it is not now. And there have been a lot of policy changes, reg changes that have kind of, again, flown under the radar without a lot of attention, and a lot of issues that I could bring up, but I'll not do that today. The bill also requires the executive director to give preference to in-state services as long as it does not interfere with an individual's abilities to get needed services if those services are only provided out of state. And then finally, it's just the reporting requirement, and the other entity is the governor's office and the committee that I chair, Families and Children. And that basically sums up the bill. I'm going to turn it over to my guest to kind of explain some of the issues that led to this bill.
Okay, if I can, I would like to explain what community rehabilitation providers do. So we are contracted through the Office of Vocational Rehabilitation. I actually also founded one of those about 10 years ago. We're turning 10 on March 30th. And what we do is we help individuals with disabilities get jobs in the community. And these are real jobs that are competitive and integrated in the community. I actually just ran into one of my our job seeker placements that has been at Rep Arena for 5 years. I ran into him at the clubhouse as he was working at the UK game on Tuesday night. And one of our other employees that we had had placed, became Employee of the Month for Georgetown Scott County Parks and Rec. So these are very real jobs. They are life-changing for the people that are getting the jobs. And we as providers, we have multiple staff members that work in local communities with local employers to not only help fill voids that they might have, but to continue helping people with disabilities get included into everyday activities and into the community. So it serves multiple purposes. We are not happy with the 48th in the nation because we know as providers that we can do better than that. We have come up against a lack of resources often, and even to the point where some providers have had to close over the last few years. And what we are just asking for, what we talked to Senator Carroll about early on, is we're an employment first state. And that means that if somebody with a disability wants to work in the community, they can and should have that opportunity. And we are the people as CRPs that help facilitate that. I will also say that the bill that is in question hasn't been touched in 19 years. And again, that's how old my daughter is. So maybe it's time to look at it. We don't know the exact numbers, but we do know that millions of dollars from their budget has been sent back in the last several years. In 2020, I know for sure that it was $3.5 million. Our research indicates that it could be up to $9 million since then. And again, if we are struggling as CRPs with resources, then why would we send that money back? And when we do send the money back, it does decrease our budget that they give to us from Kentucky, which leads me to the next part of it, is that back in 2017 or 18, you all as a legislation voted to match dollars on federal dollars that we pull down. So for every 78 cents that we get from the federal government for vocational services in Kentucky for people with disabilities, you match 22 cents. And so we appreciate you doing that. And I was part of the team from the DD Council that helped advocate for that. But you did that, and we're not utilizing our resources to the fullest capacity. And that's what we would like to see changed. Lastly, I will just say that there is not, in addition to the lack of oversight, there's not input that is asked of us in the field, and we're the people that are working directly with the individuals. And so that's what we would like to see, as well as budget transparency and where the money is going and how much is being sent back, because we could certainly do a lot of really innovative things with that. Thank you.
I guess I'm supposed to be the numbers person. My professional background is I'm a CPA, so I think they look for me for stats and whatnot. So long story short, this what we're speaking about specifically begins impacting families and students with disabilities age 14 and continues through their entire career life cycle. Currently, across the state of Kentucky, we're looking at a student population of 114,000 individuals that could possibly be negatively impacted should we not continue with these resources and not continue with the accountability. Additionally, this could impact 35 to 45,000 disabled individuals who are wanting to work at this point. So it's very important that we become strong fiduciaries for our tax dollars, and that we utilize and leverage the federal dollars to their fullest extent to move us away and forward, away from that 48th in the nation. Additionally, I would just like to share that for our agency, we have an individual that was just hired by Norton Healthcare. And that's really important because we have individuals that are capable and wanting to work. And that individual starting wage, which is important for everyone to know, is very competitive at $20 an hour. So these are great jobs for great individuals that are willing to work. Additionally, with individuals with disabilities, they're more often to miss work less. They want to work every day. They would prefer a holiday not be, because they're just so committed. So the turnover cost for individuals with disabilities is much, much lower than that of a non-disabled individual. So those are the numbers. And just think about it. It's 1 in 6 children today have a disability, intellectual and developmental disability. So it's our future, and it's our workforce gap solution. Thank you very much.
We have a motion and a second on Senate Bill 103 as amended by House Committee Sub 1. We do have a question here. Representative Lehman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senator, just quick question. This bill also establishes a quote preference for in-state services. I don't think you spoke to the background. Is that what's
that was done with a Senate floor amendment. I did doing some research, and it was brought to my attention from a gentleman, I think in Eastern Kentucky, that there could possibly be conflict with the language that we had previously with federal law, federal regulations, and basically this language mirrors what's in federal regulation. The entire goal of it is you can give preference to in-state services, but for those who go out of state, if those services aren't available within the Commonwealth, we can't interfere with those individuals getting those services, nor would we want to, but it's just mirroring federal language.
Thank you.
Representative Gentry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Senator Carroll, for bringing this bill. I'd be remiss not to comment on it. So they talked about the high percentage of people with disabilities in this state with not working. They did not mention the high percentage of people in the state with disabilities. So it's kind of a double whammy here. And I remember very clearly in 2017, 2018, when I was a freshman here, railing and raving of why we're not investing more money in this area to pull down maximum federal funds that were available at that time on work opportunities for people with disabilities. So I really like what you're trying to do here. And, you know, I lost my arm 32 years ago, and I've worked for 31 years in the world of people with physical disabilities, and really understood the power of creating a pathway to self-sustainability for someone in that situation. And you do that by giving them medicine, and medicine is self-confidence and self-esteem that is developed when you're able to do something on your own. It creates a beast within you, so to speak, of having what it takes every day to get up in the morning and fight the challenges and barriers in front of you, of being shorthanded or physically more challenged than the people you're competing with in the workforce. And the beautiful part about this is you can still do that. You can still win. You can still do great things. And that's what we've tried to teach for 31 years. And we use the vehicle of golf and really focus on people that acquire disabilities in midlife. Even though we have several that were born that way, they become our mental mentors, because what we found with people that acquire disabilities in life, their biggest challenges aren't the physical disabilities, it's the mental challenges that they face when they wake up one day and have to live life in a different way than what they're used to. And a lot of those people are old athletes, and they come back and they generate the assets that they need that carries over into everyday life and propels them back into the workforce and become successful in life as contributors to society. So whatever we can do at this level to get the most out of these programs and reach out and get more opportunities for people with disabilities that are out there, even better mechanisms to count the people that have physical disabilities of some sort and are sitting at their house, that depressed or you know, we can put monies to things, but writing checks and giving to somebody is not going to be nearly as powerful as giving them a reason to get up in the morning and be great. So thank you. I've ranted it on so long, and thank you for allowing me to do that, and hope everybody can be a yes here.
Mr. Chairman, if I might, just and I'll close with this. Back maybe a year or two ago, OVR gave raises to some of their staff, and I'm not saying those raises weren't needed. They were badly needed. And then several months ago, there were rate increases that were finally given to CRPs, a new rate structure that was rolled out. The CRP's had a month to comply with it. It was a nightmare. We still don't know if those rate changes are going to impact the CRP's ability to survive. Recently, within the previous month, OVR announced that they were going to implement an order of selection, which means from this point forward until things change, only those with the most severe disabilities are going to be getting services now. There's level 1, 2, 3, and 4. Only level 1 will be getting services. 2, 3, and 4 will not get services now. That's part of the reason for this bill. There are concerns with the fiscal operations of OVR. There's concern about transparency. There's concerns about opportunities missed in this Commonwealth. And it's not an indictment on OVR. They do have struggles financially, but when you look at it as a total effort, money sent back to the feds, there are just things that justifies this need for greater oversight. And we want to be an asset. I know the CRPs want to be an asset to OVR. I think we as a legislature want to be an asset. Everyone, without exception, that I've talked to, Representative Sharp, you know this issue, we all agree that this is a population. We've got to make sure that we give them every advantage we can to make sure they can have equal grounds and have a great quality of life. They can contribute so much to our economy in this state, to our lives. And I've seen this program work. My daughter has been through this program. She worked in a little gift shop for a couple years, she had some surgery and had to quit. But a great experience for her, the change in her to be able to draw a check every month. It's life-changing for those folks, and I see it every day. The only problem was she spent more money at the shop than she made, so it was good for them too. But that's how important this program is, and you all know that I have the honor of leading an Easter Seals affiliate. Of all the programs that we do, this is the one that is most life-changing. And this is the one that financially, for 15 years that I've been doing this, it's been unable to sustain it. I think maybe 1 year in 15 years, we finished in the black. And the model was just unsustainable. They finally changed it. And, it's great. We're going to get more money. Good deal. And then they turn around and discontinue services or stop services for new people coming in for levels 2, 3, and 4. How do you think that makes us feel as a nonprofit that we're going to get more money, but those folks aren't going to get services? And those are the types of management concerns that we have and the things that we want to address, and hopefully we can work with them on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Sharp.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I can't agree with you more, Senator Carroll. You know my daughter, Katie, and she's happiest when she's working. As a matter of fact, she was supposed to be down here this week with me, but her job asked her to work a couple of extra days to help out because they're having an influx of things. So they actually called her in and asked her to work extra because they need her. And she's happiest when she's working. She wants to be like everybody else, and this program, I think, is really good. The only thing I consider mentioning is that when she went to her first job going through this program, they told the employer that she can only work so many hours a week or she's going to lose her Social Security. That girl would work every day of the week if they needed her to, and she would love to do it. Heck, sometimes I think she'd do it for free if they'd let her. So as long as she's there doing something. And I appreciate this bill.
Any further discussion? Okay, we have a motion and a second, so we will call the roll.
Representative Bowling?
Yes.
Representative Callaway?
Yes.
Representative Duval?
Yes.
Representative Elliott? Aye. Representative Gentry?
Yes.
Representative Griffey?
Yes.
Representative Grossel? Representative Huff?
Yes.
Representative Jackson?
Yes.
Representative King?
Yes, ma'am.
Representative Kulkarni?
Briefly explain, Mr. Chairman. Yes, ma'am. I just want to thank you, Senator, for bringing this bill and for you both to be doing the work that you do every day. I do have a personal investment in this. My brother went through the program, and I will echo Representative Sharp's comment about the need to allow folks to work more because they would. Life-changing, transformational. These are exactly the words and the experience that our family had. And I have constituents, of course, in my district, as do we all, who just need a little bit of support, just a little bit of help, who may not fall within that tier 1 category, but they just need a little bit of help. And the dignity and the purpose and the joy. I can't really describe in words how life-changing and transformational that is, not just for the individual, but for their families. So I want to thank you, and I hope that this legislature will continue to fund and support and expand programs like this in the future. Thank you. I'm a yes.
Representative Lawrence.
Yes.
Representative Lehman.
Yes.
Representative Lockett.
Aye.
Representative Payne.
Yes.
Representative Sharp.
Aye.
Representative Tackett Lafferty.
Yes.
Representative Truitt. Chair Branscombe.
Aye. Senate Bill 103, as amended by House Committee Sub 1, passes with favorable expression that the same should pass. Senator, thank you very much, and your guests, thank you all for being with us.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for the time you gave us today. It's very much appreciated.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
And finally, on the agenda, Senate Bill 201, my counterpart from the Senate, Senator Wheeler. And while he's coming up, Representative Cole Carney, do you need to record a vote?
Yes, Chairman, thank you. I'd like to record my presence and a yes vote on Senate Bill 3, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And if you could, just state your name for the record.
Senator Philip Wheeler, 31st Senate District.
Floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. After listening to these transformative bills, I feel a little bit reluctant to come before the committee, but this is much more of a housekeeping measure, but an important one all the same. Kentucky has actually a model workers' compensation system. It's been duplicated in Tennessee and other states. They look for us for leadership and guidance. In fact, we were one of the first states in the entire nation to actually set up a workers' compensation system. It's administered through a workers' compensation board as well as administrative law judges, which weigh the evidence and decide the claim. These are pretty good paying jobs. They pay about $158,000 a year, same salary as a circuit judge. And in the last probably 8 to 10 years, there's been a reluctance of people to apply for these positions. And one of the reasons is that they are appointed by the governor after being vetted by the nominating committee, but then they also have to go through Senate confirmation. Under current law, these people take office as soon as they are appointed, so they have to leave their law practice or their partnership if they're in a partnership with somebody else, and for a period of probably 8 to 9 months, they will actually be working the job, but if they're not confirmed by the Senate, then they basically have to go back to work, and maybe they've closed their office, maybe they can't go back to the law firm that they were working with. I mean, obviously, if things move on, you need people to do the work. What this bill would do is simply change the process so that you would only take the position after you were confirmed by the Senate. And I guess I should back up a little bit. The problem that we've had is we've had fewer and fewer applicants. In fact, the statute states that in order for the governor to make a choice, you have to have 3 applicants. For the last opening that came about, there were only 2. And in fact, a lawyer from the cabinet submitted an application so they would have the required statutory minimum. And again, the fear is I take the job, I don't get confirmed, I've thrown away my career. So again, this makes a very small statutory change to simply say that you only take your job after being confirmed by the Senate. It also closes a small loophole in the statute whereby an outgoing governor would appoint approximately 6 to 8 judges. Sometimes that would lead to a little bit of bloodletting when a new governor came in, so it provides some more stability to the process.
Motion on the bill.
We have a motion and a second. Senator, you're welcome to continue.
I generally.
Okay. Representative Elliott.
Yes.
Good morning. It's good to see you, Senator. I noticed that there's also some language that would require the governor to provide the name at least 30 days prior to the expiration of a term of an ALJ to the chairman of the Senate Standing Committee on Economic Development, Tourism, and Labor. Is that just basically because that's probably the committee that the nomination would come through.
Yes, Representative, that's correct. The judges have traditionally gone through the Economic Development, Labor, and Tourism Committee, but, well, they don't always go through the committee. Sometimes they'll go straight to the floor, but you're correct. That is the typical process.
Okay. Thank you.
Any further questions? Seeing none, Sasha, call the roll.
Representative Bowling.
Yes.
Representative Callaway.
Yes.
Representative Duval.
Yes.
Representative Elliott. Representative Gentry.
Yes.
Representative Griffey.
Yes.
Representative Grossel. Representative Huff.
Yes.
Representative Jackson.
Yes.
Representative King.
Yes, ma'am.
Representative Kulkarni.
Yes.
Representative Lawrence.
Yes.
Representative Lehman.
Yes.
Representative Lockett.
Yes.
Representative Payne.
Yes.
Representative Sharp. Representative Tackett Lafferty.
Yes.
Representative Truitt. Chair Branscombe.
Aye. Senate Bill 201 passes with favorable expression. That same should pass.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, members of the committee.
Members, I just want to make a quick note. Be sure to be watching your emails. There is a chance that we will have a special call meeting early next week. I'll try to give you guys as much heads up as possible, but just kind of want to put that on your radar. Be checking emails. Okay? And we'll try not to do it at 8 a.m. So. This is his notice.